Okay. There we go, Dr. Marty. I apologize for the delay. But again, it's so great to have you in the house tonight. And what a great subject, boosting your way to better health with nitric oxide. Please come on in and share with us, Dr. Marty, your insights onto the nitric oxide signaling molecule.
Sure. So this is a very important molecule, and post-COVID, this is even more so. So some of you uh, have been vaccinated, some of you have not been vaccinated, some of you have been exposed to spike protein, some of you haven't been. So the number one thing that we need to, have a concern about is cardiovascular disease. I'll share with you that of the people that are on the call right now, none of you think that you're going to be the ones that are going to be taken out by cardiovascular disease. However, that's just not the case. Okay. The percentage of us will, and this is totally treatable, totally something that you can take control over. I want to encourage you that if you see something imminent coming your way, okay, I think it's a good idea to prepare for it. I think it's a good idea to say, you know what, I'm going to step out of the way of this bus coming my way. And I don't care what kind of genetics you have. I don't care what kind of past history. It doesn't really matter. You can improve something that you can test. And I'm going to show you on how to test this tonight. It's a very simple way to do it. It's less than $1. And I want you to all become aware that this is something that I carry in my little pocket with me, because when I'm come across people that I care about, I'll say, I want to check your nitric oxide here in a minute. Okay. And I want to talk to you about why this is important. Why is nitric oxide so very important for you to live? It's all about circulation. And if we can affect our circulation, everything is going to be made better.
At the station. He told me she took a leave of absence 12 months ago, during which no one could call.
All right. They actually won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of nitric oxide back in 1998. There's been four discoveries that actually have won the Nobel Prize in the realm of health. The first one was Pasteur, that actually developed antibiotics. And then there was insulin. And then there was Dr. Rankin, and Dr. Rankin developed the X-ray. And now here, back in 1998, Dr. Louis Ignarro and his team actually discovered nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a signaling molecule that is produced in the arterial system. Okay, and so this is something that it's good that you're here, because you're going to be remembering this conversation here tonight. I call this the fireside chat. This is me just explaining a little bit about nitric oxide. You can have a deep dive into this if you wish, but this is something that affects all of us. If you're listening to me, if you're breathing, you are affected by nitric oxide or the loss of nitric oxide. So here are just a couple of statistics. And you know what? The thing is that we can all recognize that this is a global issue. This is something that is the thing that will most likely be the end of you, or something like not the end, but maybe a stroke, okay, or maybe something that leaves you debilitated. I'll share with you that there are things worse off than death. Okay, there really is. If you survive a moderately or bad stroke, you are truly a prisoner in your body. Okay, I'm not a doomsayer. I'm not a gloomist. I'm an optimist. I'm an eternal cheerleader. And I want to let you know that there's something that you can actually do for this. Okay, and I want to encourage you. Not everybody has this challenge, but most people do. And the older you get, more likely there's going to be a problem with nitric oxide production in your body. Mayo Clinic says that every cardiovascular disease is associated with loss of nitric oxide. Okay, this is a huge thing. If you've got a parent, a grandparent that's got hypertension or had a stroke or has an aneurysm or an embolism or a thrombus problem or any cholesterol issue, okay, the leaf doesn't generally fall far from the tree. Okay, so just recognize that. If they died at, say, 56, the way my grandfather died of a massive heart attack, his first symptom, by the way, was the last symptom, looked healthy, internally was very sick. Okay, now I'm 57. So Now I've tested my nitric oxide and my nitric oxide is low naturally. So I've got to do something proactively to change that. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same. There's Dr. Louis Ignarro, and he went on to write this book, No More Heart Disease, How Nitric Oxide Can Prevent or Even Reverse Heart Disease and Strokes. That's a bold claim. Well, this was discovered back in 1998, okay? And if your doctor isn't bringing this up to you, I would fire them, okay? If you've got some sort of cardiovascular challenge, you better be taking something that's got a nitric oxide production activation in it. And there's a lot of foods that do that. You can Google foods that produce nitric oxide, spinach, pine nuts, pomegranate, watermelon, a lot of different things that can naturally raise your nitric oxide production. Why are these things called the blue zones affecting? And why are they eating more things that we're not eating, or maybe some of us are not eating, that raise nitric oxide just naturally? Or you can take a nutraceutical, or do both. What is it good for? Well, okay, let me rephrase it. What is it not good for? When you affect circulation, you're going to affect the nervous system. When you affect the nervous system, you affect everything. Everything. Is it good for everything? Yes. Period. Next sentence, new paragraph. This is truly been referred to as a miracle molecule. And this directly affects your 60 to 80,000 blood vessels in your body. When we have a loss of nitric oxide, this is going to affect the internal lining of the artery. It's kind of hard to see, but we'll say where it says this 100% nitric oxide, there's a little dark layer right there. Can't barely see it. And that's called the glycocalyx. This is a felt-like substance, membrane solution that is like little fiber, little fembrae. And Rob, I want you to Google this because I want to add this to the slide deck. The glycocalyx can only be seen by electron microscope, and it allows the red blood vessels to not rub against the arterial wall. So there's a little barrier that God created for us that kind of just separates the artery from the blood, okay, the red blood cells that are just kind of zipping by, okay? As we lose nitric oxide production, that little membrane, that little glycocalyx starts to decline. And what happens is there's mechanical irritation against the arterial wall. Kind of think of it like if you had gravel and you had a PVC pipe and you poured the gravel inside the PVC pipe, it'd create little score marks. It'd create little cuts, little nicks, little cracks. And what happens is the body, in its innate wisdom, uses cholesterol to repair that plaque, okay? So think of it. Did the cholesterol do this? No. There was a fire. The firemen used fire detergent, a hydrant on the suppressant on the fire. And then when the investigator comes, wait a minute, we did analysis and there's fire retardant on that area. That means that caused the fire. No, there was a fire. The body put this little protective mechanism called cholesterol, a little plaque on there to stop it from bleeding. Okay. If you didn't have cholesterol, you would bleed out. All right. So by reducing cholesterol, not necessarily will actually irritate this problem. This is a integrity of the arterial wall itself. The intima is the inside of the wall, and that's what we're trying to affect. As nitric oxide rises, the glycocalyx becomes nice and thick and full again, and blood flow is flowing nicely. As we lose nitric oxide and we don't do anything to repair that, then the artery that should be like nice supple leather turns into kind of like old crack leather, and it irritates that system. That's why cholesterol builds up. That's why blood flow gets restricted. That's why hypertension goes up. And that's why it's important to look into this, to educate yourself, especially if you've got any kind of cardiovascular challenges right now. Or if you've got a family history of cardiovascular challenges, like my grandfather, who I'm named after, Martin the Joyous, looks like me. I've never met the man because he died when my dad was 17. Now I am almost 2 years older than him when he passed. Do I need to be doing some things? Oh, yeah. Okay. I've got a fantastic life. I'll sidebar this for just a second. Back in 2020, I had a billionaire patient come in. He thought he was dying of COVID. He said, I said, you're not dying of COVID. You're doing everything naturally, alternatively, and productively. You're going to be fine in about 2 days. And he was. He said, Marty, he said, would you keep doing what you do if you didn't have to work? And I said, yes, I love what I do. I said, you know what? But I noticed that it's like solving jigsaw puzzles. And it's easier, it's hard to do that work week in and week out. In fact, if I'm on vacation and I go off for a week and I come back, I'm much sharper. He said, I'm going to tell you how I made my billions. And he did tell me this. And the story goes on, but I'm going to share with you one thing that he told me. And I'll share with you right now. If you had 1 month to live, how would you spend your days? This statement will be true for everybody that's on this call. You got 31 days to live. Now, that could have been tomorrow, could have been yesterday, could have been in 2 weeks from now, could have been 20 years from now. That statement would be true for you one day. I encourage you to do the exercise that he instructed for me to do. He said, I want you to design your life. I want you to design your life day to day for a month, everything that you're going to do for a whole month. And then you can look back on that month and say that was a perfect month. I've had quite a few perfect months since then. Do that exercise for yourself. I don't know why I diverted on that, because I can. All right. As we continue with nitric oxide, as you age, this is for men and women, okay, that the men is the darker color and the women are the red color. It decreases. The production of nitric oxide declines as you get older for most of us. Now, some people genetically, this curve happens earlier on. If you've got cold extremities, that's called Renault syndrome, but it might also be just loss of nitric oxide. Now, some people, this is extended further out. They just are genetically built better. They just are. They don't have the genes, for instance, of MTHFR that's directly responsible for the production of nitric oxide. As I stated, you can test this. This is a very simple saliva test. You can find these online. And the key is that you want this very dark. This is a saliva test, costs less than $1. And you just get some saliva on the felt strip, and it should be nice and dark. Don't drink any liquids for about 10 minutes prior to it. At least the thing says don't do 10 minutes right prior to it. And allow actually 90 minutes after drinking a smooth or whatever to increase the nitric oxide production. So this is actually a little product that also raises nitric oxide. However, this test is something that if you care for people, if you have got some loved ones that you know that there's kind of a little genetic family tree, cardiovascular stuff going on, that somebody had a stroke, somebody had a heart attack, somebody's got whatever, or hypertension, test them. If you love them, test them. If you don't love them, still test them. You can do something about this. This is very preventable. Cardiovascular disease, according to Mayo Clinic, says that everything is related back to loss of nitric oxide. Our product, this NitroMax, is incredible. And it's going to affect everything. What happens is your nitric oxide will increase almost instantly with this. The technology with this thing called quantum nutritional strips. That's the key. There are competitors to nitric oxide. There's a lot of different nitric oxide activators on the market. Ours is the only one that has this technology. It's not about what's in the box. It's about what's going to get into the cells. You've got to get this into the cells to activate the nitric oxide release. You can take your blood pressure and take a nitric oxide test or a nitric oxide strip, Take it within 1 minute, 60 seconds, and it'll be better. Mark my words. Incredible. Some people are what are called hypertensive resistant, meaning that no matter what they throw at them, whatever medications, whatever exercise, their blood pressure just doesn't go down. And I've had a lot of patients like that. We give them this and instantly it's down. And it's amazing. They said, why did my doctor not tell me about this? Well, I don't know, but I'm telling you about it right now. This little strip is so powerful that it bypasses the digestive system and it goes right into your bloodstream, directly going into the cells. This is what nutrition is becoming now. The absorption of nutrition is where we accelerate. We are a star in that field. And others will follow. We're the first to market with this. How small are we talking about here? What particle size are we talking about? The size of our product delivery is right here. It's somewhere between the virus size and a water molecule, right next to a glucose molecule. So it's just very, very small. So these particles go right through the cell, right into the cell membranes, right through the cells into the body, almost instantaneously. It is truly a subatomic level. This is the finest absorption technology on Earth. In my mind, in my practice, this nitric oxide is the best nitric oxide support product on the market. And it all starts with this PubMed. You can search this: quantum food, subatomic approaches to nutrition for health and wellness. This will be the technology that we advance into as a species. And the reason why is because it's better. It's a better widget. It's a better product. The delivery system is superior to everything else that's on the market. You're not going to find something percentage-wise that gets into the cells better than this. Search for it. You'll see. When you take a pill, very little of it gets absorbed. Many of you have heard of this story that I take x-rays and I'll see people that take their pills. You took this multivitamin. Yes, I take a multivitamin every day. I say, you know what? It's going to keep going. It's going to keep going. It's finally going to come out of you, and it's going to help support and fortify something downstream from you. Okay, it's not going to get into your cells. You might as well crush it up and give it to your aquarium fish. Sprinkle it on something else because it's not getting into you, into your cells. These strips have greater than 90% absorption, and it is better than any other delivery system. This is the quantum technology that NRG has. Fascinating. As a physician, I want to give things that work. I don't want to say, try this. Hopefully this will make it better. No, take this and you will see a difference. We'll track it. You're going to look at your blood pressure. You're going to look at your heart rate variability. All ties into every aspect of health span and lifespan tie into this. Don't guess, test. If that person's got low nitric oxide, they are at risk of death or something worse. They're going to appreciate you. You know why? Because there's a lot of things that cardiovascular disease causes: sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, brain fog, peripheral neuropathy. The arteries got to feed the nerves. And so as these arteries tighten, the red blood cell can't get in to the end of the capillary. It tries to fold itself. It tries to get to the end, but it can't because that artery is too tight. It's got to be relaxed. This affects every aspect of your being. I could put every metabolic system is affected by nitric oxide production. Decrease it, you're going to have decreased blood flow. Increase it, everything's going to get better. How am I going to feel something? Yeah, you will. You'll have a new spring in your step over time. Is it instant? Yes. Do I feel it instantly? Most of the time, yes, I do. I feel a better circulation. We actually did thermal imaging on people. Yes, we actually took a thermal image on someone that had low nitric oxide, gave them a nitric oxide activator, and within seconds, their bodies were warmer. You ever have someone says, it's cold in here? It's not cold. Or you shake someone's hand and you say, what? Cold hands, warm heart. No, I say cold hands, low nitric oxide. Open your mouth and let me check your nitric oxide level. What? Yeah, you want to do something about that? All right. These ingredients are specifically formulated to get the very maximum dose of nitric oxide activators into your body with each little strip. This is a strip you just put on top of your tongue. It just kind of melts in your mouth. It's amazing.